we must be able to share knowledge with the souls with whom we live. Yes, so we live in a family system, all of you, yes. So we are all living in Lokik families, and Baba says that it is our duty to do this charity. Charity means daan, and Baba says the biggest daan that you can give, the biggest donation that you can make is the donation of jewels of knowledge. So we must start donating jewels of knowledge to the family members and to our relatives and friends. Do you do that? Do you donate jewels of knowledge to our family members and relatives and friends? And what does Baba mean by jewels of knowledge? Sometimes we think that telling them, okay, this is the right thing to do, or this is how you should behave, that's a jewel of knowledge. But Baba says giving them the knowledge of the beginning, middle, and end of time, that how the soul, begins as a deity, and then how we come down and we fall into the trap of vices, and this is the last birth, and how we have to go back to our world of dignity and glory. We have to share this knowledge with every one of our friends and relatives, and Baba says this is your duty. When you live in the household system, you must donate this. And I remember there was this one Mata, and once we were having a class in the center, and in the class she asked that I have a Devrani, so sister-in-law Devrani she has, and she said that I cook food in Baba's remembrance. So sometimes while I'm cooking food, she just comes and stirs the food. So she just comes and stirs, maybe I'm cooking dal, so she would just come and stir the dal. And then I have this thought that she's not in Gyan, so is it allowed that she should stir the dal, or that's not okay? And then if she does it, can it be offered as bhog to Baba? So when she asked that question, then Bhai was taking the class and he said, but that's not the main question. The main question is, you have been in Gyan for the last 6 years. So why has the Devrani not got the knowledge until now? That's the main question. Who can stir the dal is not the question. The question is, you live together. Yes, you belong to Baba and you're living under the same roof. Then why has the Devrani yet not got the knowledge that Baba is giving? So that's the important question, because you see that it seems like sometimes Baba today tells us something very important. He says that we know the truth, and we must always speak the truth and behave truthfully. So Baba has taught us true actions. Baba has given us true knowledge, and our words should always speak true knowledge, and our actions should always be truthful. What are truthful actions? So actions based on Shrimad should always be truthful. So being respectful, being peaceful, being joyful, being stable, these are all truthful actions. So, or being disciplined. So that's our original nature. But the thing is, Baba says that we come into familiarity, and we are not always soul conscious. So you see that I gave you an example where the Mata has not shared Gyan with her Devrani. Why? Because she thinks that she will not get it. Why she wouldn't get it? Because that soul consciousness is not there. Maybe whatever she has understood about her acquired personality, that is what you're holding in the heart. Yes, maybe somebody is very argumentative, maybe somebody is very dismissive, maybe somebody is very rude or angry, and then what happens is you keep that personality in your mind, you hold that personality in your awareness, and you forget that this is a soul. And then what happens is you don't behave the way you should as a Brahmin before them, and you also start being influenced by who they are. So, in the present state, whoever they are, that is how you start behaving them with like. So, you also start behaving with them in a similar way, with in accordance with your idea of them. So you also forget that this is a soul actually, and this is a very big problem. So I remember when I was in office, and there was this invitation that I had to give to the minister, and I was the employee there, and I was still in employee consciousness. So you are that had not been overcome. I had not become that soul conscious. So when I went to the office, I felt that I couldn't call him brother. I could address him as sir only, and that is how we come into familiarity. So this body consciousness that that emerges because you see someone according to who they are right now, or how they are talking, or how they are behaving, or what is your relationship with them, or what is your judgment of their personality. All of this doesn't allow you to speak truthfully or behave truthfully. Now, what is our true nature? Our true nature is always to be, humble and polite and respectful and loveful and self-confident at the same time. But sometimes you will not feel self-confident in a place, you will feel subservient in a place. But why do you feel that? Because there is familiarity. And I gave you that example of going to the minister, and then years later, maybe 2-3 years later, when I had overcome my body consciousness, I could do the same thing, in a loveful and peaceful and in a state of swaman. So Baba says that in order for you to speak the truth all the time, and the truth is true knowledge that Baba gives us, you mustn't shy away from speaking the truth to anybody. Sometimes if you ask yourself, to how many family members have you shared the Gyan? Have you shared the story of the 84 births? Or have you shared the story that we are in the confluence age, and this is the time to have yoga with Baba, burn our sins and go back? So we don't do this. How many of you have really done it with your family members and friends and relatives? You have to ask yourself. And even if you have done it maybe for 1 or 2, but why does that charity not begin at home, and why don't we share it with everyone? And why do we start behaving in a body conscious way around them? Why do we forget that I am a soul and this is a soul, and that is the truth? And when we can't speak truthfully, when we can't behave truthfully in front of somebody because we care for their judgment, or we think that they won't like it, that is all because of familiarity. And Baba tells us that children of the ocean of truth should always be able to maintain the state where they can speak the truth to everyone and anyone, and also behave truthfully all the time. So this is something that we need to understand. And then Baba says that Bharat is called the great donor, Mahadani. And we, the children of Baba, are who make this, who conduct ourselves in Sangam Yuga in such a manner that Bharat takes on the title of Mahadani. And Baba says, giving dan is not a big thing, even in Bharat, even today, people donate. But Baba says that we children surrender everything for seva. So, we are the ones who give our whole life in seva. So, we are the ones who give our body, mind, and wealth, everything to seva. And that is why Bharat is called Mahadani. So, never in the whole of history, in 5,000 years, it doesn't happen that someone gives their body, mind, and wealth, everything to God's service and everything as a gift to God. But we children do that, and that is why until today Bharat is called the Mahadani. So Baba says, donating the jewels of knowledge, but also when we recognize Baba, we donate everything. We give our body, mind, and wealth to the cause that Baba has come from the soul world for. So this is something. And then today's Murli is also about staying as being a detached observer in every situation. And Baba says we must stay cheerful in every situation and be a detached observer. And are you able to do that? Are you able to see every scene as a detached observer and maintain your happiness? Or is our situations taking away your happiness? So situations are taking away our happiness because of body consciousness. And if you sit and ask yourself, is it possible that everything and everyone would stay the same always? No, change is the only constant. But what is our relationship with change? So we say change is bad, change is tragic, change is pathetic. But Baba says change is the true nature of the universe, and everything has to change. Change is the only constant. And Baba says you have to see every change. And what is everything? Loss, death, everything is just change. If you look at it, what is a loss? It's a change. What is death? It's just a change in costume. And Baba says you should be able to sit on the seat of soul consciousness and watch every change as a detached observer and stay cheerful and happy in every scene of the drama, whether the change is in the form of a death, or whether the change is in the form of a loss, or anything. But Baba says be a detached observer, and we have to practice this. And how do you do that? The first practice is in Amritvela. So what do we do in Amritvela? We keep our eyes open and we do not react to anything. So we just we practice to stay in Baba's remembrance and in soul consciousness despite everything. So your eyes are seeing something, your ears are hearing some sound, or there is some something happening in your body. Maybe there's a pull for you to scratch somewhere, or your body is pulling you to drink water or something. But what is your attempt in Amritvela? to allow the body to be completely still and the mind to be focused on Baba's virtues and Baba's sweet form. And all these pulls that are pulling you have to be just, they come and go and you don't react to them. Do you practice Amritvela like this? Or do you practice Amritvela like whatever comes to your mind, you start flowing with it? So, sometimes there was this one brother and he said that I don't sit in Amritvela with a program. I just allow my mind to wander wherever it wants to, and then sometimes, some things I feel and some things my mind takes me to. But that's not the purpose of Amritvela. In Amritvela, you have to give your man and buddhi a definite program. So tell your mind, maybe you tell your mind that just experience Baba as the ocean of peace, and you tell your buddhi to just be stable on the form of Baba as the ocean of peace, and you don't allow anything around you or any sanskar from within you to interrupt that experience. That is what you do in Amritvela. But if you are not practicing that, then how do you apply it in this world of chaos? You see, if you can't be a detached observer in Amritvela and focus on what you want to focus on, then how can you be detached during the day? You cannot be detached during the day. You see, every practice is done in favorable circumstances, and application is done in difficult circumstances. So you see, when there's a sportsman, let's say there's a sportsman who is running, so he places hurdles for himself at definite intervals, and he tries to practice running in the face of those hurdles. Why? Because when he goes for the race, he will not know where the hurdles are placed, and he will have to run there despite the hurdles. So what you do is, in practice, you simulate whatever can happen in the actual test, and then you prepare yourself by practicing with that simulation. Similarly, in Amritvela, what are you doing? You are simulating that, in Amritvela, naturally there are not 4 people coming and disturbing you in Amritvela, or there is not too much noise or chaos in the surrounding. But whatever little noise and chaos there is, or whatever, if maybe one person is awake, or something is happening, water is falling, or there is rain, or whatever is there, or there's some sound coming, in the face of all of that, can you keep your body and mind and intellect absolutely still and focused? That is your practice in Amritvela. And can you experience the state you want to experience? If you want to stabilize yourself in a state of constant happiness, can you do that in Amritvela when there is least interference? If you can't do that in Amritvela and your happiness dips, then how can you maintain happiness and cheerfulness during the day when so many things are coming? So can you just smile and sit in Amritvela for 45 minutes and experience that inner joy of meeting Baba, and can you create those thoughts of happiness based on Gyan, which will keep you constantly happy for 45 minutes? If you can't do that, then how can you stay stable and constantly cheerful during the day? So you see that these being a detached observer in the face of situations and circumstances is an application. And how do you reach that stage? if you stay in constant remembrance, the foundation of which you lay in Amritvela, if you're doing that, and if you're working on every Srimad that Baba is giving you, then you will have this stage. And you see, in the end, this is a very important stage to have, because in the end there'll be so many things pulling your attention, and will you be affected by them, and will you be able to, will you destroy your final moments, or will you stay unaffected and cheerful and have a good final moment and go with Baba and come back to Satyug? That will be determined by this practice of being a detached observer. So this is something. And then today Baba says that when you say my Baba, Mera Baba, that is the key to all treasures. And Baba says then nothing in the old world can attract you, because somebody who has unlocked all the treasures that Baba gives is full. And when you are full, you are not attracted to anything outside, whether it is a scene of fear or whether it is a scene of attraction. You will not be attracted if you are full from within. Now, you see that if you have a lot of treasure but you forget the key, you misplace the key, then can you have anything? You can't have anything. So it's very important to have the key and use the key at the right time. And if you don't use the key at the right time, then you will be attracted by the situation, and if when you are attracted by the situation, then the situation will make you behave in a particular way which you may repent later. Yes, so this is something. And I remember there's this brother, and he met with an accident recently, and he was, after the accident, he was lying on the road. So he couldn't get up, so he had fallen and he was lying on the road. And in that moment, he just tried to put the key, Mera Baba, and then he was feeling very mentally okay. He was in happiness, although he didn't know which bone has broken and what has happened in the accident. And then he called me that, you see Didi, I have had an accident and please send for someone. So then I sent somebody, and they were able to take him to the hospital and everything. But of course people in and around had also helped by that time. But you see that because he was able to put the key in the right time, that's why he did not lose his happiness, and he was not affected by the situation he was in. And although there was physical some damage, he got the treatment and he got well in 15 days. But during that 15 days, he did not lose his happiness. He was very cheerful, and that is the biggest achievement in Sangam Yuga. So you see that in this time that we are living, what is our biggest loss and biggest gain? So the biggest loss is if you lose your happiness, and the biggest gain is if you are able to stay cheerful throughout whatever is happening. And Baba says that if you put this one key, Mera Baba, then no situation will be able to pull you into any emotion other than cheerfulness and happiness. And this is very important. And you see, sometimes I remember there was this one incident, and I was conducting a session for new souls. I was very young in Gyan, like I was just 2 years into Gyan, or 1.5 years I think. And I was conducting this session for new souls, and I had no experience in managing, the sanskars with which souls interact in a. Let me tell you that when there is session for new souls, they don't smile. So they never smile. They will look at you like they're going to eat you up. So they just stare at you with blank faces. So it's very difficult to deal with it if you don't remember Baba and smile. So if you smile, they smile. If you're not able to smile first, they won't smile. And so I didn't know all of this. So when I went in for the session, so I remember that everybody was staring at me, and in that moment I was feeling this, this stress and nervousness, because it was my first session in a public gathering. And then I just called Baba. So that's the only thing I knew, that just remember Baba in every situation. So I remembered Baba, and when I said my Baba, I was at peace, I was at happiness, I smiled, and then they smiled. And then I conducted the session, and then there was this one brother who stood up, and he started pointing out all the mistakes that he thought I made in the lecture. So he started giving me a whole opinion about whatever he found wrong in my explanation. And when he started doing it, then I couldn't think of anything, and I was just getting confused, and I was going into that emotion about I don't know what to do now. And at that moment I just called Baba, and then you see that in that moment when I called Baba, then I had this thought that if this brother knows more than me, then let me call him to the stage and let him let him speak. So I was very naive at that time, and Baba gave me this touching, and you see that I called that brother onto the stage, and I felt that or this whole gathering is sitting, and when they are sitting, their time shouldn't be wasted. So I called this brother to the stage, and I said, if you know it, then you can share it here, you can just stand and share. But the thing is, that brother had come with some motive, and he had not come with a whole lecture prepared. He had just come with a motive to disrupt the class, and he was not well prepared with the lecture. So what happened is, he stood there and he didn't speak anything. And when he didn't speak anything, the souls in the gathering, they started telling him, why are you disrupting the program if you don't have anything to say? And then they brought him down, and then the session was completed peacefully. So if you just remember Baba at the right time, then sometimes Baba will give you a very extraordinary touching, like he gave me in that situation, and that kind of exposed the intentions of the person who was doing it also. And then everybody got to know that whatever the person was doing was not because he wanted to share something, but because he had some ulterior motive. So you see that these are the kind of helps that you receive if you just remember your Baba at the right time. And Baba says, if you say my Baba from the heart, then anything on the outside will not pull you. So even if it's the scariest scene, you will not feel the fear. Even if it's a very attractive scene, you will not be pulled into attraction. So, but the thing is, how will you be able to say my Baba from the heart at the right time? If you have that heart to heart connection with Baba. And for this, just take a very simple practice. What is that simple practice? During the day, whenever you are in a relatively difficult situation, whenever your mind is being confused, whenever you are feeling some other emotions, just ask yourself, can I remember Baba now? Am I remembering Baba now? Do I remember the blessing Baba gave today? Do I remember the slogan Baba gave today? Do I remember what Baba said in the Murli? And just do this. And when you have this as a practice, that in any difficult situation during the day, you practice to ask yourself not what to do in the situation, but whether you are remembering Baba, whether you remember the slogan and the blessing and the Murli ka Sar today. If you develop this practice, then you will develop this sanskar, where in the face of any situation in future, whether it is a situation which is very grave in intensity and it is pulling your mind like anything, but even in the face of that situation, you will be able to remember Baba because you've practiced this. So don't forget this. In any situation, however difficult during the day, practice to ask yourself whether you remember Baba's blessing today, whether you remember Baba in the moment. Yes, so just practice this. And in your chart, if you're writing the chart, so I'm every time urging you to submit the chart every day, and Baba is giving us directions in the Murli that we must submit our charts every day. And in the chart you must mention, you see, how much you remembered Baba during the day. Did you do any seva? Were you able to be soul conscious? Did you read the Murli? Did you churn on any point? All these things have to be mentioned in the chart. And in the chart also mention whether you were able to remember the blessing or remember Baba in the face of any situation that you face today. And when you start giving this chart, then you will be in a position where you'll be able to say Mera Baba from the heart in the face of anything on the external world trying to pull your attention. And then today Baba says you have to check whether you are the master of your mind or the mind is your master. And how do you check that? What does it mean when Baba says check whether you are the master of the mind or the mind is the master? So what it means is you have to check whether you are creating conscious thoughts based on your realization of the self and of God and time in every situation, or you are creating unconscious thoughts which the situation is trying to pull you into. So let's say that somebody is behaving very rudely to you. So are you able to create the thought, this is a soul and they are just behaving because that's their sanskar, but that's not their original sanskar, and in the original sanskar this is a pure soul. Are you able to create that thought, or are you creating the thought, such a rude person this is? So this change in thought is an indication of whether you are the master of the mind or the mind is a master of you. Because you see that if I am the master, who am I? I, the Brahmin soul, I am knowledgeful, peaceful, loveful, joyful, powerful. So if I am the master of the mind, then every thought I create, every feeling I create will be knowledgeful, loveful, joyful, peaceful, powerful. But is that the quality of my thought, or is it otherwise? If it is otherwise, it means that my old sanskars are dictating my thoughts, not my new knowledgeful realized self. So, where are your thoughts coming from? From your knowledgeful, cultivated, nurtured, pure self, or they are coming from a place of your old sanskars? That is what determines whether you are the master or the mind is the master. Okay.